right, it is 5 minutes until 6. I have about 30 minutes before my wife and kid gets home, which means I put away the computer, spend time with my family. So we are gonna rock a 30-minute Pomodoro session, get laser freaking focused, dive into the code. We got a fun drink. I could not tell you the last time that I had a Mountain Dew, and this is a cheater Mountain Dew, 0 sugar. I'm still gonna get cracked out from this caffeine. I'm so caffeine sensitive. So we're going to kick off a 30-minute Pomodoro session. And if you have never seen one of these, I think it's like maybe 10, 15 bucks on Amazon, but it has a 15, a 20, a 30, and a 60-minute side. The top side is blank. Whatever side is facing the ceiling is however long the timer on the bottom runs. So it's pretty stellar. So if I flip it up like this, you have a 15-minute timer. And here, I'll just show it to you. So it beeps, that's how you know it's running, and you flip a side up, gives you a single beep, and then now, I don't know how well you can see that on a camera, but a time is ticking down. So if you flip it back up to the blank side, it kills your timer, and after the allotted time, it just starts chirping at you, and it's pretty wonderful. It's super minimal. I love it. Highly recommend you check one out. You can use YouTube videos and things like that. For the next 30 minutes, time is on the clock. We're going to get back into the project, dive in, laser focus on the project screen. I want to show you all my new design for the project cards. I had to fix some of the bugs from my previous project card, and I think it's going to be way freaking nicer than what I had before. Let's keep up the momentum from the last video and start freaking cranking code. All right, I want to give you a quick demo here of the new project cards, both on the dashboard and the projects tabs, now that I have fully resolved all the styling and CSS issues, and that I'm pretty freaking stoked how they came out. So let's dive into the computer and let me give you a freaking demo. All right, so as y'all can see here, we're on the projects tab, and if you have a really good memory, a couple videos ago, you saw that whenever I scroll down on the projects, the cards would like collapse right in. And obviously that's unacceptable, super annoying. They should just take whatever the parent's width is, unless I specifically tell it to go smaller. And we have fully resolved that issue. So it's definitely just a Flexbox styling issue. I don't know what the hell is happening, but I fixed it. Now, I want to kind of show you the project's dashboard view. Oh, I gave you a sneak peek there. We'll talk about that in just a second. But with the projects dashboard, now we are fully set up to show all of the projects that are due soon. And due soon to me, as I mentioned in our previous video, is like what is due in the next month. Eventually, that's probably gonna have to be like a configurable variable. Maybe I need to provide them like a little calendar widget or something like that. But let's go ahead and start diving into what I think is the coolest freaking thing that I have figured out. So coming into the projects tab, one of the things that I was super interested right out the gate, and a lot of my customer feedback told me, was they wanted a Kanban board style system because they're all doing it on either Excel or their whiteboard, which is just hot garbage. Maybe 10 videos ago, I mentioned, oh, I would love like the Notion style Kanban where you could actually drag cards to and from between columns. On paper, that sounded really good. So I was like, all right, before I dive too deep into that, let me just play around with it myself and see if it's a feature that I actually liked. And when I first started it, oh, I like this. It's pretty intuitive. I like the dragginess to it, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you what, as the columns start growing in different sizes, you know, you have a lot of things on like your to-do or backlog column. It became quite honestly a pain in the ass to manage because the columns didn't stretch down the full length, which meant you kind of had to drag up, and then you could drag it over to the column. And it was just, it wasn't very great, to be honest. So I pretty much decided that the horizontally scrolling view of columns on a mobile phone, that just wasn't the move. So then we landed on the segmented control. And all this segmented control is doing is filtering out the data that's provided to the vertical flash list that I'm rendering. So it is just picking the status of the card or the project's content. And like I said, it's just filtering things out. That's what allows me to do really easy, nice things too, like putting the parenthetical of how many are in each column without you having to go and, try to count them. The downside to this segmented control is you lose the easiness of dragging things between columns, right? I've been ideating and honestly racking my brain on how I can make that as seamless as possible, because that, to my mind, is one of the most important features of having the Kanban board. And I'm happy to say, here's what I landed on. When you click on a card, rather than bringing you directly to a details page and then having to click edit or something like that, I just open like a little hidden section and provide you some quick actions that you can utilize. So if you click on the clock, it doesn't do anything yet, but if you were to click on the clock, it's going to open a bottom sheet that allows you to set the due date of a project, sick, or change it, obviously, if it's already been set. If you click on the eye, that's going to bring you to the full details page, and then you can have an edit mode there and blah, blah, blah. But that's where you can see the full context of your project, maybe your notes or your steps or whatever you allocate there. The heart will be to allocate that this is a favorite project, which later down the line will be super useful for creating templates. Woodworking is very seasonal in that, like, think about your woodworkers in your community right now. It's summertime. So probably 2 months ago, they were all building garden boxes for outside and things like that, right? So woodworking is very seasonal, where they can create a project, give it beautiful details one time, and then next season just say, oh, I want to do that project again. Let me refresh it from this template. So that's the idea of the favorites or the templates, things like that. You have a trash can if you're like, nope, fuck this, I just want to delete it. And then you have the arrows. So in the to-do column, you can only move one direction, and that's to the right. So that's what the arrow is used for. It doesn't do anything yet, but when the user clicks on this arrow, it's going to move from to-do to in progress. And if we go and look at the in progress column, it has both sides, right? So you can move it to done, or you can move it back to to-do, all with a click of a card and then a click of a single button. So it is not as nice as dragging, but you have the full width to have these beautiful card layouts, tons of details, without losing how freaking seamless and easy it is to transfer between the states. And then you have your done column, which intuitively can only go in one direction. Now, say the user was in done and they wanted to go all the way back to the to-do. That's when they could go ahead and click the I, edit it, and have a full edit, blah, blah, blah. But I think that is going to potentially never happen, and never obviously is a hard word, but I think that is like the 2% case. And the reality is they're either going to want to pop it back because, oops, I didn't mean to do that, or they're going to want to push it forward and just go along with their day. So this is super freaking awesome in my mind now, where the user can come in, they literally just click it a single time, click the arrow, close their app, keep on working, and have a good time. So I love this flow. You get the same exact flow on the dashboard. You can, this card must just be in a state where you can go in either directions. I could understand how in this view, perhaps I would want to hide the arrows because maybe that's confusing, but I'm thinking right now, if it is the exact same workflow as here, that it will be intuitive once they learn about it. So it seems to me more of like an education onboarding type thing rather than it's a bad design thing. Now, obviously, I'm not a designer, so I'm making it all up. But I think I really do love this. I think this is super, super seamless to work with the quick actions and the common things of these projects without having to open 18 different screens and things like that. I need to work on filling in these actions. And once all of those actions are there, the subcomponents of making a project, then I can come back in and finish the modal to make a project, upload a picture. We can get rid of this default naturey landscape picture I have here that's not woodworking related at all. We'll get some kind of preset in there. Maybe it's got a picture of like a little table or a chair or something woodworking related, set of tools. And they can go on from there. So it's like a freaking Armageddon outside. So if y'all hear some background noise of thunder and lightning, it for real is a mega storm right now. I'll show you a little clip here right now. Guys, do y'all see this right now? It is a freaking downpour. It is crazy thunder and lightning out right now. And it is like you can see how windy the tree is right now. Yeah. So super fun times, but this is a perfect day to stay inside and code because holy shit, my driveway is just filling up with a puddle down there. I just saw some more lightning. We'll see. See if we cracks here in a minute. Yeah, so this is just not a fun time. Oh, there goes another big flash. Holy shit, time to go back inside. That one scared me. I think that literally was in the field right across the street. So yeah, we're going back inside. All right, bye. But all right, I am finally ready to tell you about this damn Tanstack query hell that I've been. So let me just walk you through a little scenario. This is all old code, so don't pay attention to the stylings or anything like that. You can actually see here that issue I was telling you about, the cards just collapsing, and anytime you scrolled, the cards would just collapse. Super annoying, obviously fixed. You all saw the new version. But check this out. So we have this card, new project, haha. The old design was you would go to this like edit screen, and I started to build this out. You know, don't look at anything, it's really ugly. But check this. So you were gonna go to edit project. That's when you get this little modal. Now you can see like my new design with the little pop out hidden section and then blah, blah, blah. Way freaking nicer. But watch this. So it is Tanstack query. So if you're unfamiliar, after you make a change, you invalidate the mutation, which should then change the entire cache of the app, anybody that's using the same key, of course, which would then cause it to requery it on the next re-render, right? If I do haha, say like, hi YouTube, and I come and click the plus, it doesn't change. It requeried it, it invalidated the query. You can see that down in the logs, but it didn't change. Now check this out. On a spot where I was not using Tanstack query, so I'm about to go back a page. On the spot where I wasn't using Tanstack query, new project haha still didn't get updated. What the hell's going on? Even worse, you go and click it again, which should fully refresh the query. And look, now it's got the edit. So I was like, what in the hell is going on? And here's what it was. I spent days thinking this was some bug with Tanstack or the way that I was using Tanstack, and I just built up a brand new project totally outside of this app, mocked a similar workflow, and it just worked. And I was like, what? At the end of the day, here's what was the problem. So if you come into your code and you go down to your layout, so let me just pop out the layout. I had a root layout at the time. I had an authenticated layout, and I had a public layout. And if we look at the base layout, it rendered a slot, totally fine. If we go look at the root layout, I was rendering the query client, which is what you want for Tanstack, you know, GlueStack and the theme provider, my session provider for auth, and then another slot. Perfectly reasonable. It looks like it would make sense, but I was doing all of this other use effect here for auth, for checking if things are loaded. But I was using all of these different side effects from the use effect of checking if things are loaded, hiding the splash screen, returning stuff, checking if there was errors in the root layout, and all of these things in combination caused the entire GlueStack to just lose access to its cache. And not GlueStack, Tanstack. React Query, which is this query client provider right here, whatever reason, it would just lose access to the cache. So that was it. That was the crazy Tanstack hellhole that I no shit fought for 2 days. And yeah, don't be like me. Don't do everything crazy redirects in your root layout because you're going to cause side effects. Don't check for sessions and try to redirect off segments. And just, you don't need to do any of that. Trust your session provider. It'll do its job. Don't have side effects in your root layout because it will cause you absolute freaking nightmares. And with that, I got to get back to working on these projects. We are so close to where I want to push this out for an MVP. I just need a little bit more time, hoping to hit the end of July. That is the goal right now. So let's get back to work. Good luck on your project this next week. Have a lot of fun. Remember why you're building it. And with that, I will see you all next week. Peace.